So unless you have literally been living under a rock over the past few days, you have probably heard the name Mathys Tel. He's the player that quite hilariously completely rejected Tottenham Hotspur and is now being linked with a loan move to Manchester United. But the question is, how good is he? Who is he? What is he as a footballer? And should United bring him into the club, I guess? All things that we will be looking at in today's video. Before we do that, if you could quickly subscribe, please, that would be great. Like, actually do it though, like actually press subscribe, please. And then we'll get into it. So literally the immediate question with Tel is what is actually his best position? Where would he play for Manchester United? He has at times in his career played as a striker, he's played as a right winger as well, and also as a left winger as well. For me though, he looks to me like a left-sided forward. I wouldn't call him a left winger, and I also wouldn't call him a striker. For me, he's something in between that, which actually, just straight away on paper, makes this look like it makes sense really, right? That describes a left forward, someone that wants to play in this sort of position here. The question is actually in terms of profile, what does he bring to Manchester United? Well, actually, he's a fairly raw player, but perhaps not in the way that you would expect. Normally, when we talk about raw players, we are talking about players that make poor decisions in the sense of they get the ball, they take players on when they shouldn't take them on, they lose possession all the time, but that actually isn't really the case. If you look at Tel's numbers, his ball retention work is absolutely fantastic, but I actually think the reason for that is because sometimes he's a little bit too safe, which isn't what we expect from young players. It's just in moments like this though, as he receives the ball out wide, you can see the defender is far enough away that Tel, for me, should be able to dominate this position, take the ball on and really attack the defender, but he just doesn't. He sort of drifts backwards and he plays it safe. Again, in a moment like this, he receives the ball out wide and the defender is so far away that for me, Tel should take complete control of this and attack him, be aggressive and get at him. But he doesn't, he sort of cuts backwards. Now, this may be tactical instruction. This may be something that Bayern are trying to do. It may be because he doesn't want to play out wide as an outlet, you know, as a 1-versus-1 touchline winger on the left-hand side. Perhaps he doesn't want to play in that way. And I hate to start on a negative, but I just want to point it out because normally when we talk about raw players, we're talking about players that lose the ball too much. This is almost the opposite, but don't worry, his skill set is still phenomenal. Now, the phenomenal skill set that I'm talking about is really on show when he decides he does want to go. Yes, sometimes he's a little bit safe, he keeps the ball and doesn't take the player on. When he does take the player on, I tell you, this guy is phenomenal. His dribbling numbers over the past 365 days have been extremely impressive. 1-versus-1, he's very difficult to stop. Why is that? Well, because I tell you, the raw physical profile here is an absolute joke. He's tall enough, just under 6 foot, I believe. Really strong, he uses upper body well, but the acceleration is a joke, and the agility in particular is phenomenal. The way that this young man changes direction, it gives defenders absolutely no chance in certain moments. He's not a dribbler which really relies on a lot of skills and, you know, he'll throw in step overs and shoulder drops and things like that. But he doesn't really rely on skill moves as such because actually his physical profile is so good, it gets him out of so many situations. And what I like is that he can go both ways. He is a right-footed player who naturally wants to come inside the pitch, and we'll look at that in a minute. But importantly, he can go the other way as well. He can go down the outside, and I think this is something that United need more of. I've spoken a lot about needing 1-versus-1 threat in wide positions. I think tactically there are ways that Ruben Amorim could get Tel into this position, into this moment, to attack defenders. And when you do that, I'm telling you, this guy is good. I almost want to see him do this more, be more aggressive, take players on a more regular basis, because when he does, he toasts people. You can see here, 2 defenders up against him. He's going to drop the shoulder initially. He drops the right shoulder, which shifts the balance of the defenders. This is clever dribbling. This is a psychological game. Attacker versus defender. He shifts the balance, and then it's this change of direction is so quick. I can't really capture it in still shots. Unfortunately, I can't use footage for copyright reasons. But this doesn't quite capture just how quickly he is going from this standing still position to then bursting into the attack. And it gives him this little bit of space. It gives him this separation from a defender. And then the ball across, the final delivery, generally speaking, it is fairly good. I think he is good at finding that pass. Again, in a moment like this, he may be right-footed, but that doesn't mean he can't go down the outside. He is more than happy going on the left-hand side. I think long-term in his career, he will want to move into more central positions as his career progresses. But certainly, can he go both ways? Yes, and I think tactically that's really important for Manchester United. We have seen an adjustment recently with Garnacho in the team, where Dalot or Mazraoui, it's been a few different players, will invert into this position from wing-back, so Garnacho can receive the ball out here. Tel could do something very, very similar. Then it's all about what he does on the ball. Sometimes he's going to go down the outside and burn defenders for pace. Sometimes, though, he'll do something a little bit different. Now, the thing that is a little bit different is very, very clear in his heat map. Yes, he's starting on the left-hand side, but you can see as he gets towards the final third, towards the penalty area, he's trying to come back inside the pitch. And that is why I would describe him as an inside forward. He's right-footed, playing on the left-hand side. He always, where possible, wants to move inside. He can go the other way, but his desire, his want, is to move inside the pitch. Now, should he sign for Manchester United, I will do another video on really tactically how this works, because with Dorgu signing as well, I think there's something potentially really interesting going on here. But what Tel likes to do, just as a brief overview, is start wide, receive the ball here, sometimes go down the outside, but actually he wants to drive into these positions. And this is where with a wing-back it could be really effective, because as Tel starts here, receives the ball, when the wing-back then goes flying round, it sort of takes that defender with him, and that's what opens it up for Tel to move inside the pitch. Now, once he's coming inside into these areas, there's variation to his game. He can dribble through defenders, and at times it is like his foot and the ball is like a magnet. The ball sticks to him and he dribbles through, and these mazy, incredible runs, beating so many different players at once. It's kind of ridiculous. In other moments, though, he wants to combine. He does want to look for the pass. He wants to bring someone else into the game. You can see it here, drifting inside onto his right foot, but he's not greedy, he's not selfish. He wants to move the ball onto a teammate. What I like is that he's not finished there. He's direct, he's aggressive with his movement. It's easy to play that pass and think your job's done. You just sit and watch it. But Tel doesn't want to do that. He wants to get on the second movement. He wants to get on the second ball and link the play and combine in these positions. It's really good work. Again, in a moment like this, receiving the ball on the left-hand side, he could be aggressive. He could attack the defender. He could try and get a shot off at goal. But actually, he is more than willing to come inside as well, inside the pitch, and find his teammates. Again, this is a pretty good ball, and he gets his teammate into a brilliant position. And this is the benefit of the right-footed player playing as the left forward. It allows you inside the pitch, access back into the middle. And this is certainly something that he would bring to Manchester United. The other thing, though, and I think it's a really big talking point surrounding Tel, is his shooting. His goals per 90 since playing for Bayern, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, the sample size is a little bit small because he hasn't played as much football as he would want, and maybe that's something we need to look into. Why don't Bayern play him so much? But when he does play, his goal threat is massive. You can see in his goal map where he is scoring from, it's very much this inside left position most of the time. He wants to get into these areas and shoot. Now, to be critical, sometimes that's a problem. He makes some very poor decisions with his shooting. He will shoot when there's about 100 players between him and the goal, and he's shooting, and you just think that the shot wasn't really on. You probably should have passed to someone else. So he is selfish at times, but that's probably something that you can coach out of him, right? With experience, that probably leaves his game. He makes better decisions. In moments, though, when he shoots, I tell you what, this guy can be absolutely lethal. I want to see more consistency, of course, but if we just fast forward a couple of clips here, and this moment here is the special one. This ball is in the air, and he plucks it down with this touch. He uses the outside of the right boot to quickly change direction, and again, we can see the agility moving inside the pitch. And then the bend on this. The ball striking here is absolutely phenomenal. And this is where I am impressed. A young player that can strike the ball well is a hugely positive sign. Because it means if you can tactically refine them, technically refine them, they've got a raw trait here which is really quite special. A lot of players would kill to have good ball striking. Tel has it in abundance. But not only does he use it for shooting a goal himself, but also for being creative. Now, the creativity that I'm talking about here isn't, fine passes through the lines in the final third. It's actually from crossing. Now, as Manchester United fans, that's music to my ears. Because we need a player that can cross, and boy, oh boy, Tel can cross. I actually think this is one of his best traits. I don't think people are talking about this enough. His crossing is genuinely unbelievably good for such a young player. Again, he needs consistency. That will come with age, that will come with time, with experience, of course. But again, in moments, particularly on the left-hand side, as the defender's going to sort of overlap him just to draw this player away. Again, you can imagine a wing-back doing this for United. As he moves into this position here, this area, this zone is really where we're talking about. His ability to play, I don't know how to describe it, like a clipped cross. He's not knuckleballing it into the middle, but he's not floating it so the keeper can get it easily. He's not drilling it along the floor. It's these clipped crosses towards the back post, which are really quite special. And with Manchester United tactically, often trying to attack with the front five, the striker, the two inside forwards and the two wing backs, that could be a real weapon for Manchester United because there's potential to get a few players around the back post here. Now, unfortunately, we perhaps don't possess the best players in the air for these moments. We don't have the most clinical strikers, but if we are trying to create more chances for a Rasmus Højlund, for a Joshua Zirkzee, Tel is the sort of player who can find them, I don't think Manchester United do this anywhere near enough. I think our crosses are so predictable, very, very samey. All our crosses, copy and paste. Tel will give us something a little bit different if he does sign for the club, because again, it's about ball striking technique. You can see it here, cutting in from the left-hand side. This is what he wants to do as much as possible. But then the ball, the way he strikes it is so true, but also it's so nice for a striker to get onto as well. It's not coming so hard that it's difficult to get onto, but it's not coming so slow that the defenders can deal with it. It is, I don't want to use the word, but it's borderline perfect crossing technique on that right foot. Now, I guess the question would be, can he do it on his left as well to make him more unpredictable? Can he cross from the outside? That would be great. Maybe something that will come into his game. Again, his ball striking on his left isn't too bad at all. On the right, though, oh, it's good. It's really, really good. His right-footed crossing is special. And this is actually something which really makes me quite like the idea of this signing, particularly as a loan deal, so it protects us a little bit. This is something that the United attack is crying out for. I think Garnacho recently has been really impressive with his work in the past few weeks. His cameos from the bench, but also when he started, have really brought something to United. It's proof, it's that evidence that we need more wingers in the squad. Tel is something a bit different to Garnacho though. I think tactically he would be used in quite a similar way. My days, my voice is going there. I think Tel would stylistically be used in quite a similar way, but I actually think individually he's quite different. He's a bit quicker, he's a bit stronger, a bit more agile. And he's also, for me, just a little bit more creative in the final third with his work, which is why I actually really like the idea of some business here. I think the fees that are being spoken about for a permanent deal are crazy. He's not worth that amount of money. But on a loan deal with some sort of option to buy, there's not too much that can go wrong for United. We need more players. We know that. We have no attackers. We need some more. Tel on loan for 6 months. He's not the ready-made player by any means. Very raw. Again, this is a potential player. But if you can get him in for 6 months, he can do well. He can fall in love with the club. Then you might be able to do some sort of cheaper deal in the summer. And there's an opportunity here. This is not a ready-made player by any means. But I think the potential is sky high. I think this guy can be really, really special, providing a coach is willing to take the time to enhance his strengths and improve his weaknesses. I think there's a real player there. If he is coached in the right way, hopefully Manchester United can be the environment for that to happen, right? That'd be quite nice, certainly in my opinion anyway. But as always, these are just my opinions, my thoughts. I want to hear yours in the comments down below. What do you think of Tel? For me, a little bit raw, but there's a really good profile there. United do need to be careful though with signing too many young raw players. We do need to be careful. But I like this. I think on a loan, it's risk-free. I think it boosts the squad for the second half of the season, so I would be doing it. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Apart from that, we are finished for today's video. So thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.